breathe. You don't need to perform anymore. Most men learn this lesson too late, that the moment you try to impress her, you lose a piece of her respect. It's subtle, almost invisible, but she feels it right away. The effort, the tension, the quiet need hiding beneath confidence. Marcus Aurelius once described it as strength without display, the quiet power of a man who doesn't announce himself because he doesn't need to. Today, we'll explore the psychology behind that kind of presence, why calm men draw others in without effort, and why neediness, no matter how gentle or well disguised, always pushes them away. Because maybe if you're honest, you're tired of chasing validation that never lasts, tired of performing for attention that disappears when you stop trying. So let's slow down together. Let's look at what happens when you finally stop reaching, and what she begins to feel when your silence speaks louder than effort ever could. 1. The moment you stop trying to impress her. Understanding. Female attraction. Psychology. There's a quiet moment most men don't notice. You're talking, sharing a story, maybe something that once made you proud. And while you speak, your attention isn't fully on the story, it's on her face. You're waiting for something small, a nod, a smile, a look that says, "I'm impressed." Maybe she does smile. Maybe it's even kind. But behind that smile, her mind is already somewhere else. Not because your story failed, not because you bored her, but because she felt something beneath your words, something unspoken, but heavy. She felt the effort. It's the invisible strain of wanting to be seen, the quiet tension of trying to prove you're enough. That subtle unease that says, "Please notice me." And every time you try to prove your worth, you quietly confess that you doubted yourself. I know that place. I've been there, sitting across from someone I wanted to connect with. But instead of simply being, I started performing. I chose my words carefully, shaped my stories, and kept checking her reaction. Did it land? Did she see me? The more I tried, the less she leaned in. Because the truth is, when you work too hard to impress, what she feels isn't confidence, it's uncertainty. Your words might sound right, but your energy carries the scent of need. A tree doesn't announce its roots. It doesn't explain why it stands tall. It simply stands. And we trust it because it doesn't ask to be trusted. That's presence. That's what draws her in, not performance, but peace. This is what makes a woman attracted to a man: his groundedness, his stillness, his quiet belief in his own worth. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca said, "Desire makes slaves of the free." When you seek approval, you become enslaved to reaction. You hand over your sum, your worth, your center, and wait for someone else to return it to you. But no one can give you what you've abandoned. Calm doesn't come from her recognition. It comes from your own quiet belief that you're already enough. Mindset to practice. The balance between confidence versus neediness. Your goal isn't to stop caring. It's to act from calm, not from need. Confidence versus neediness isn't about pretending not to care. It's about where your energy comes from. Confidence doesn't prove itself. It simply exists, anchored, steady, unhurried. When you speak, let it come from truth, not tension. When you listen, let silence hold the space instead of filling it with effort. Your presence should feel like rest, not persuasion. A calm man doesn't chase attention. He embodies something that attention naturally moves toward. And when you can hold that stillness, you'll realize the real power isn't in being noticed, but in being grounded. Daily practice. Applying. Stop chasing her psychology. 1. Notice the pull. When you speak, catch the subtle urge to impress, the extra tone, the forced smile, the need to be seen. 2. Pause. Before reacting. Before you add, explain, or try to earn interest, breathe once. Ask yourself, is this calm or is this need? 3. Reflect each night. Write one simple line. What did I try to prove today? No judgment, no analysis, just honesty. 4. Let awareness do the work. Over time, you'll start to see the pattern. You'll catch yourself earlier. And slowly, the need will quiet down, because respect begins where performance ends. She doesn't want the most interesting man in the room. She wants the one who's steady enough that she can stop performing too. A man who doesn't need approval because his calm already gives her safety. And when you stop performing, silence starts to work for you. Not as a tactic of stop chasing her psychology, but as a reflection of truth. Because peace, not persuasion, is what truly pulls her in. 2. The quiet pull. Inside female attraction. Psychology and masculine energy and attraction. Most men misunderstand where attraction truly begins. It doesn't start in her thoughts. It starts in her body. Before her mind catches your words, her nervous system has already read your energy. It's asking questions you can't hear, but she can feel. Is this man steady? Can I relax around him? Or do I need to manage his energy? And that answer forms quickly within seconds. Before you even realize you're being tested. Reading the subconscious. Understanding. Subconscious. Female attraction. Signs. Picture this. 2 men stand beside her. One keeps talking, explaining himself, filling every silence, trying to make sure she sees his worth. He's smooth, maybe even charming, but there's effort in it, a quiet tension beneath the surface. The other man stands differently. He listens. His eyes are calm, his shoulders open. He doesn't rush to fill the gaps. When he speaks, it's simple, clear. Then he lets silence do the rest. And that's the man she feels drawn to. Not because of what he says, but because of how he feels. Not to the story, but to the stillness. Because what draws her isn't excitement, it's safety. It's the quiet assurance of someone who doesn't need to be validated to exist. That's the hidden layer of subconscious female attraction. Signs, the micro-reactions that happen before she even realizes them. Her body softens, her breathing slows, her attention deepens. These aren't reactions to performance. They're responses to presence. Calm presence. The core of masculine energy and attraction. The Stoics said, "Let your virtue speak without your tongue," meaning you don't need to declare who you are. You don't need to fill the air with proof of your worth. When your presence is calm, it does the speaking for you. Here's the paradox. The less you say, the more she hears. When you stop trying to impress, your silence becomes its own language. It tells her something words never could. I'm grounded. I'm not afraid to wait. I trust the moment to speak for itself. That's where quiet magnetism begins, not in volume, but in restraint. Because calm energy doesn't chase connection, it invites it. It gives her nervous system permission to relax. And when a woman feels safe, attraction follows naturally, not forced, not demanded, just felt. I know the fear that rises when you hear that. If I don't say enough, won't she lose interest? That's the trap. The belief that silence equals invisibility. But the truth is, when you fill the silence just to keep her attention, you lose your presence. It's not charm she feels, it's need. And need is the opposite of calm. So instead, let her feel your steadiness in the pauses. Leave space for curiosity to grow. You don't need to reveal everything. Some things are meant to breathe unspoken. Because in female attraction, psychology, and in life safety, creates attraction. No display of wit or charm can replace the simple strength of calm. Your pauses, your tone, your lack of rush, those speak louder than any clever line ever could. Attention versus attraction. The hidden difference. Most men miss. Here's where most fail. They confuse attraction versus attention. Attention is momentary. It's the spark you can grab with charm or appearance. But attraction, real attraction, is built in stillness. Attention needs noise. Attraction grows in quiet. A man chasing attention burns out quickly. A man embodying calm attraction never has to chase because his stillness speaks louder than his words. Your practice for the week. 1. Pause before responding. In 5 conversations this week, take 1 breath before you reply. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let it settle. 2. Leave space unsaid. Speak clearly, then stop. Let 20% of what you could say remain unspoken. Allow her curiosity to meet the silence. 3. Observe what shifts. You'll feel it. The tension dissolves, the pace slows, and something deeper starts to replace performance with connection, because silence, when it comes from a calm center, is never empty. It's full of quiet assurance. It says, I'm not performing. I'm not reaching. I'm here steady, grounded, unshaken. But remember, outer silence means nothing if your inner world is still loud. So start there. Still the noise inside. And when your peace becomes genuine, your presence will speak for itself without a single extra word. 3. The power of stillness. Mastering control through female attraction. Psychology. Most men misunderstand what control really means. They think control is about suppression, locking everything down, showing no emotion, keeping the face unreadable. But that's not control. That's pressure building behind a wall, waiting to break. True control isn't about stopping your emotions. It's about directing them. Because when emotion isn't trained, it leaks through your tone, through your shoulders, through the slight edge in your voice. When you think you're being calm, you might believe you're composed. But your body tells another story, and people feel it, especially her. She doesn't need to think it through. Her body reads you faster than her mind ever could. And deep down, the question forms, is this man centered, or is he just pretending to be? Emotional discipline. The core of male. Self-control in attraction. Picture this. You're sitting with her. The mood is light until she says something that cuts a little, maybe a small jab, maybe a test. You feel the spark in your chest, that instant urge to reply to show you're not affected. But instead, you pause. You breathe once, twice. You let the moment breathe with you. And when you finally respond, if you respond at all, your tone is steady, your body still. No sharpness, no defensiveness, no need to prove anything. The air changes. She feels it. The room feels it. Because you didn't react, you stabilized the space. And in that silence, something clicks in her mind. He's not ruled by me. He's not even ruled by his own emotions. That's power. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that doesn't need to show itself to be felt. That's the foundation of male self-control and attraction, the ability to hold your ground when everything in you wants to prove itself. Stoic command. The quiet strength of masculine energy and attraction. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They taught that he who conquers himself commands all. Not commands. People commands the energy in the room. When you master your emotions, you stop being pulled by everything around you. You stop being at the mercy of every trigger, every test, every careless word. And this strength goes beyond relationships. It shapes how you lead, how you argue, how you handle chaos. Because your calm becomes contagious. People take cues from you. They mirror your steadiness. And soon, the whole space moves at your pace, grounded, clear, composed. That's masculine energy and attraction in its purest form, not about dominance or aggression, but quiet certainty. It's the energy that doesn't chase validation because it already owns peace, awareness, overreaction, the psychology of calm power. Most men don't operate like this. They react to prove control. Someone challenges them, and they rush to defend their ego. Someone disrespects them, and they strike back to show dominance. Yet the faster the reaction, the less control there actually is. When you react instantly, it's not power speaking. It's fear of losing power. So here's the mindset. Control is not about resistance. It's about awareness. When emotion rises, don't fight it. Observe it. Let it pass through without deciding that you are it. You can't always control what you feel, but you can control what you do next. That pause, that space between impulse and action, is where real strength lives. Your practice. Building the core of female attraction. Psychology. 1. Pause before reacting. When tension appears, breathe. Inhale for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6. Do it 3 times before you speak or move. 2. Use the space wisely. Feel the emotion without feeding it. Let it soften on its own until your body returns to calm. 3. Then decide. Once your pulse slows and your mind clears, ask yourself, Does this moment need words at all? Often, silence speaks better than correction. With time, this becomes instinct. You won't need to count breaths or remind yourself. Your body will simply know. Pause. First, act second. And when that becomes natural, something deeper changes. You stop reacting to every small thing. You start choosing where your attention goes, who earns your response, what deserves your energy. That's when female attraction psychology starts working in your favor, not because of what you say, but because of what you withhold. She starts noticing what you don't react to, what you don't chase, what you don't need. That kind of discipline, that quiet command over yourself, isn't just control. It's magnetism in its purest form. 4. The paradox of attention. Understanding female attraction. Psychology and attraction versus attention. Most men misunderstand the nature of attention. They believe that giving more of it builds connection, that constant presence keeps her interested. But attention feeds the mind. Mystery feeds emotion. And emotion is where female attraction psychology begins. You can text her, compliment her, and stay consistently available. She'll appreciate it at first. Her mind will register. He's attentive. He cares. But her emotions will start to drift, not because you did something wrong, but because you gave her no room to feel. Too much certainty leaves no space for imagination. When everything about you is known, she stops reaching forward. Her attraction doesn't fade because of lack of love. It fades because of lack of contrast. Because what the mind understands too well, the heart stops chasing. Reading the gap. Subconscious. Female attraction. Signs in silence. Think about it. She posts something online. Hundreds of likes, endless comments, attention everywhere. But she doesn't keep checking the ones who responded. She keeps checking the one who didn't. The one who saw, but stayed silent. Because the mind wants what's secure, but the heart is drawn to what it can't quite define. That's the paradox of attraction versus attention. Attention satisfies logic. Attraction awakens emotion. This is one of the most powerful subconscious female attraction signs, when she becomes curious about your silence, when your calm absence makes her feel something. Not anxiety, but pull. Not confusion, but intrigue. Because attraction isn't built on noise, it's built on emotional tension. It lives in the balance between closeness and distance, warmth and space, curiosity and calm. It's not about being cold. It's about creating room for her to feel again, creating emotional gravity. How to attract women naturally. Behavioral psychology has long known this truth. Connection forms through contrast. A mix of presence and unpredictability awakens emotion far deeper than constant attention ever could. The Stoics said, "What is rare becomes valuable." And that applies here. If you're always available, always replying, always trying to fill silence, you stop being rare. You become expected. And what's expected can't move the heart. Because tension dies in predictability. And without tension, attraction dissolves quietly. But this isn't about playing games. It's not about withdrawal or manipulation. It's about being intentional. When you're present, be fully present. Look her in the eyes. Listen without distractions. Let your calm attention carry weight. But when you're apart, stay grounded in your own space. Let silence do its quiet work. Because silence, when it comes from calm, doesn't create distance. It creates depth. When she's left to wonder where your mind goes when you're not there, that's when curiosity blooms again. That's when attraction matures from surface-level comfort to emotional gravity. That's how to attract women naturally, by being a man whose peace has its own rhythm, whose silence carries meaning. Your practice, mastering the balance of presence and absence. Disconnect for 1 hour each night. Turn off your phone. Step back from the noise, not to provoke, but to return to your center. 2. Let her feel the gap. Don't rush to reply. Don't fill every pause. Give her time to miss your presence, to feel the quiet energy of your absence. 3. Be deliberate when you respond. When you do reply, let it carry intention. Let her feel that your attention is a choice, not a habit. Over time, she'll notice the difference. She'll stop seeing you as someone who seeks her approval and start sensing you as someone whose attention must be earned. Because unpredictability, when it comes from stability, isn't manipulation. It's magnetism. You're not withholding love. You're holding your ground. You're reminding both her and yourself the connection has to breathe. Here's the deeper truth most men avoid. They give too much because they're afraid that if they stop, she'll forget them. But that fear, that grasping for reassurance, is what suffocates the bond. Because attention given from need feels heavy. Attention given from choice feels alive. And when she starts to feel your absence, not as rejection, but as peace, when she realizes that your distance isn't coldness, but composure, everything shifts. Because now she's no longer chasing your attention. She's feeling the gravity of your calm. That's not a tactic. That's maturity. That's detachment in motion. The art of letting her chase what she feels, not just what she sees. 5. The power of letting go. Mastering calm through female attraction. Psychology. There's a word many men misunderstand when they talk about attraction detachment. They hear it and think it means being cold, distant, or indifferent. But that's not detachment. Not even close. True detachment isn't about ignoring someone or withholding affection. It's not about pretending not to care or playing hard to get. Detachment is emotional independence, the quiet strength of caring without needing control. It's being able to love someone without losing yourself in their response. To be fully present without being desperate for reassurance. To invest without clinging to how it turns out. When you live with detachment, you stop needing her reaction to stay centered. You don't chase validation to feel enough. You simply remain steady with or without approval. That's the essence of female attraction. Psychology. Women feel drawn to men whose peace doesn't depend on their reaction. Calm independence. The core of emotional detachment. Psychology. Picture this. A man stops reaching out. Not because he's angry, not because he's trying to prove something, but because his attention has returned to his life, his work, his growth, his discipline. He's not waiting for a message, not checking his phone every 10 minutes. He's simply living. Then, a few days later, she texts, "Are you okay?" But underneath that question is a deeper one. Why aren't you chasing me anymore? She's felt the shift, the space, the silence, And instead of feeling relief, she feels something else. Curiosity. She starts to wonder, what's changed? Is he moving on? Did I lose him? That wondering pulls her closer in a way your constant attention never could. This is emotional detachment, psychology in action. When you no longer cling, your absence gains gravity. Your peace becomes the message. The Stoics said, "Hold lightly what isn't yours to command." You can't control her feelings. You can't force desire. You can't make someone want you by trying harder. But you can control yourself, your energy, your calm, your focus. You can remain grounded, whether she moves toward you or away. Stillness. Over pursuit. The wisdom of stop chasing. Her psychology. When you truly stop needing her validation, something quiet but powerful happens. She often returns, not always, but often enough that you start to see the pattern. Because detachment sends a signal most men never master. You are whole on your own. You are complete without being chased. And that completeness, that self-containment, is magnetic. It's the unseen force described in Stop Chasing Her Psychology. The paradox that when you stop pursuing, you become the pursuit. Think of it like training. You don't lift weights to impress the crowd. You lift because it builds you, because the process itself matters. Some days feel good, some don't. But you show up anyway, not for applause, but for growth. That's the same discipline detachment demands. You show up for your own life, for your purpose, for your peace, whether she's watching or not. Because when you live that way, people feel it, especially her, detachment, without punishment, returning to balance. But here's where most men go wrong. They confuse silence with punishment. When she disappoints them, they pull back to make her feel guilty. They call it detachment, but it's manipulation dressed in pride. Real detachment doesn't use space to control. It uses space to return to balance, not to hurt her, but to clear your mind, to find your center again before you speak. Your practice. Building emotional, discipline, and calm presence. 1. During conflict, go silent for 24 hours. Don't text. Don't defend. Don't explain. Breathe. Step back. Let the storm settle inside you first. 2. Reflect. Then decide. Ask yourself, was my reaction necessary? Or was it just ego? Was I really hurt? Or was I just trying to win? 3. Speak only from calm. When you respond, if you choose to let it come from clarity, not chaos. Let your tone reflect peace, not punishment. Detachment isn't coldness. It's composed freedom. It's the ability to love without losing yourself, to stay close without needing control, to care deeply, yet remain grounded in your own peace. When you live like this, something changes. You stop chasing. You stop performing. You stop needing someone else to remind you of your worth. And in that stillness, you become what few men ever learn, to be the calm center of the storm. The one she feels drawn to, not because you're trying to pull her in, but because you're no longer trying at all. You've let go, and in letting go, You've become the kind of man she can't ignore. 6. Calm is power. The core of female attraction, psychology, and what makes a woman attracted to a man. There's a difference between confidence versus neediness that most men never learn to see. It's subtle, almost invisible. But she feels it right away. Confidence is quiet self-trust. It doesn't rush to prove itself, doesn't explain its worth, doesn't need an audience to feel real. It's steady. It's still. It simply is. Neediness, on the other hand, can't stop performing. It speaks too much, tries too hard, and depends on being seen to believe it matters. It needs her reaction to stay afloat. True attraction begins when your peace is felt without words, not when you tell her you're confident, not when you list your achievements, but when your calm presence makes her feel something inside herself, when your steadiness softens her own restlessness. That's when she feels drawn to you, not because of what you say, but because of what she feels when she's near you. That's the quiet essence of female attraction. Psychology. She doesn't fall for what you perform. She responds to what you radiate. Quiet certainty. The foundation of masculine energy and attraction. Imagine this. There's a man who used to explain everything. His choices, his worth, his reasons. He needed to be understood, needed people to see his intentions. But at some point, something shifted. He stopped explaining. He started living it. His rhythm slowed. His eyes grew calm. He carried himself with quiet certainty. No rush, no defensiveness, no need to prove. The woman beside him notices it. She can't explain why, but something in her changes too. She respects him more, not because he demanded it, but because his silence now carries weight. A quiet, grounded weight that says, I no longer need your approval to know who I am. And that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius once said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. It means stop talking about who you want to be. Stop justifying your choices. Stop seeking validation. Just live it in your tone, in your calm, in how you move when no one's watching. Because when you stop trying to prove, she starts to feel. She sees it in how you don't flinch when tested, in how you don't ask for praise after doing something right, in how you can sit in silence and still feel at peace. That's masculine energy and attraction in its purest form, strength that doesn't announce itself, but is felt deeply through calm. You don't have to announce your worth, your energy already does it for you. And that's what makes a woman attracted to a man, his ability to stay centered when others would break. Your practice. Building. Calm strength and subtle magnetism. Morning stillness. Before you touch your phone, stand still for 1 full minute. Breathe slowly. Feel your feet on the ground. Let your thoughts settle. That single minute reminds you that you're not owned by the world's noise. You begin the day from control, not from reaction. Daily awareness. When you feel that familiar pull, the urge to explain, to defend, to chase approval. Pause. Take 1 calm breath and remind yourself, I am enough when I am calm. Not when I impress, not when I win, not when someone praises me, just when I'm calm. Night reflection. Before bed, write one line. What did I stop trying to prove today? No judgment, no guilt, just awareness. It's the act of seeing yourself clearly without performance. Over time, these small moments become something deeper. You begin to live with a quiet kind of power, not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that commands respect without asking for it. You realize your worth isn't something you earn through effort. It's something you carry through presence. And the moment you stop performing, you begin to radiate it. When that happens, something shifts in her, too. She no longer sees a man trying to win her over. She sees a man she doesn't want to lose. Not because you convinced her, but because your stillness gave her something rare safety. In your calm, she finds her peace. In your silence, she feels your strength. Because you no longer need her to complete you. You already are. And that kind of man, the one who's whole without validation, doesn't just attract attention. He earns respect, quietly, instinctively. So take this with you. Morning, 1 minute of stillness. Night, one honest sentence. Mantra. Calm is my power. And for today, practice this. Impress no one. Just be. And notice who moves closer. That's when you'll understand you're no longer chasing. You've become the calm they can't ignore.